If you perform the same series of tasks and you perform the same series of actions on a repetitive basis, you might decide to use a macro to automate the performance of those tasks. For example, it's very similar to recording your favorite TV program. If you record your favorite TV program, you can then run that recording over and over again every time you want to watch it. Well, the same with Excel. If you perform a series of tasks on a repetitive basis, you might decide that you're going to record performing that series of tasks as a macro and then just run that macro whenever you need Excel to do that series of tasks for you. Now, in order to work with macros, several things have to be in place, and the first thing is the Developers tab. What I'm going to ask you to do is click on the File tab in the ribbon. When you do so, you'll be able to choose the options. When you click on Options, you'll then be able to click on Customize Ribbon. When you click on Customize Ribbon, on the right hand side is a list of the tabs that you see in the ribbon, and the Developers tab by default is typically not ticked. If yours is not ticked, I'll get you to tick Developers and click OK. What you now find is you have a Developers tab in the ribbon, which is very handy if you're going to work with macros. Now, the other thing you need to contemplate is on the Developers tab in the Code group, there's a button called Macro Security. If I click this button, I need to ensure that this last option in this list here is chosen, and that is I need to enable all macros if I'm going to work with macros. So choose this option here and click OK. And the third thing we need to do is ensure that the book is saved as a Macro Enabled Workbook. When I go to File and Save As, I have a number of types that I can save this file as. If you save the file as an xlsx, in other words an Excel workbook, it won't hold your code. In fact, you'll lose your macros. If you're going to store macros in this particular file, you need to change the type to a Macro Enabled Workbook, which is effectively an xlsm file. Only if it's in a Macro Enabled Workbook can it host and hold macros. And I'll click Save.